You have probably heard people saying things like sugar is more addictive than drugs, or flour is the real culprit behind food addiction. But is it not true? Let's break it down in a way that's easy to understand and might just change how you think about food. My name is Mushtaq. I am a health coach with a mission to educate and inspire as many people as possible about weight loss, controlling blood sugar, and overall wellness. I want to take complex science and break it down into easy tips anyone can understand. You are scrolling through social media and you see a post claiming that being addicted to sugar and flour is even tougher to beat than drugs or alcohol. Addiction sounds crazy, but some people are dead serious about this. They argue that quitting a food addiction is way harder than quitting drugs or booze. Their reasoning goes like this: if you got a problem with drugs or alcohol, you can choose never try them. Just say no to that first drink or that first hit. But food, we can't just stop eating. We need food to live. So, if you are struggling with overeating or binge eating, you can't just quit completely. You got to face your trigger every single day. And they say sugar is sneaked into everything these days. That fruit yogurt you love, surprise, it's packed with sugar. Your favorite teriyaki sauce, yep, a sugar jar. Even basic things like bread and table salt often have hidden sugar. It's like food companies are playing hide and seek with sugar and us. When you think about it, that way it does sounds pretty tough. If you are trying to beat an eating disorder or food addiction, you can't just avoid your trigger forever. It's not like an alcoholic who can stay away from bars. Food is everywhere, tempting you at every turn. But hold up a second, I get where these people are coming from. There's a big problem with calling it a food addiction, especially when they single out sugar and flour as the main villains. The truth is, there is not a lot of solid science backing up that claim. Let's break it down. First of all, researchers have been looking into whether sugar itself is addictive for humans. They did a big study where they looked at whether eating sugary foods made people show signs of addiction like strong cravings or withdrawals. They didn't find a strong link. Sugary foods on their own didn't seem to cause what scientists call food dependence. So, if sugar isn't the big bad wolf, what is it? Well, it turns out it's those super tasty, ultra processed foods that are loaded with combination of sugar, fat and salt. It's not just one thing, it's the whole package. And here's something that might surprise you. Foods that are high in just one main nutrient, like the fat in cheese or nuts, often seems more addictive than foods that are just high in sugar. Think about this way. If sugar is as addictive as some people say, wouldn't we see people just spooning sugar straight from the bag? But we don't, do we? You don't hear people saying, I just can't stop eating apples, which is full of natural sugar. It's more likely, I can't stop eating those chips, or I need my daily soda fix. Some scientists are starting to think that fat might be more potentially addictive than sugar, but even that is still up for debate. The point is that blaming sugar alone as this main addiction just doesn't add up with what science is telling us. What seems to be true is that those ultra-processed, mega-tasty junk food are the real troublemakers. They are designed to hit that perfect combination of fat, sugar, and salt that makes our brain go, more please. This is what researchers are calling food dependence. It's not just one thing, it's how all those ingredients work together that makes them so hard to resist. Now, don't get me wrong, struggling with overeating or binge eating is tough, but calling it a sugar addiction, that's worse than drug addiction. That's an overstatement. It's also kind of unfair to people battling serious drug or alcohol problems. Those addictions can ruin lives and are super hard to beat. So here's the deal. Getting control of junk food cravings is definitely a challenge. Let's be real about what's going on. It's not as simple as saying sugar and flour are the biggest addictions ever. The truth is way more complicated than that. Next time you hear someone making that claim, you can say, hold up, it's not that simple. It's not just sugar or flour, it's those tricky, ultra processed foods with the perfect mix of fat, sugar, and salt that are the real issue. And even then, it's not the same as drug addiction. Understanding the real problem is the first step to finding a solution. So, if you're struggling with your eating habits, don't beat yourself up thinking you are a sugar addict. Instead, focus on those ultra processed foods that are designed to be hard to resist. That's where the real battle is. And remember, if you are dealing with this, you are not alone. Lots of people struggle with food issues. The good news is, once you know what you are really up against, you can start making changes that actually work. So let's ditch the oversimplified sugar addiction talk and get real about food, health, and what our bodies and brains really need. Because when we understand the facts, that's when we can make choices that help us feel our best. By the way, YouTube AI thinks you are really going to like this video. Just click the thumbnail on screen right now and I'll see you there in a second.